Good day and welcome to the final episode for this week. My name is Lawrence and
Michelle.
yes, and this is justlovingpeople.com, the program, and we came to a shopping mall here in South Korea, Seoul, for lunch.
Yes.
We were hungry.
Very, very much. So, as we talk, I'm just gonna get some coffee because that's just in rainy weather.
Yeah,
it's just nice to drink
It's
coffee.
so rainy. I love these vending machines. You know, you can buy anything, anywhere. And is it ready? Ah, there it goes.
There it goes.
Yeah.
It stops the cup and then...
Yeah, and then it fills it up.
So, but as we were speaking
Yes.
in the last episode, how you came about to South Korea and everything, and you said I will share my testimony as well.
Okay, I've got my coffee.
Well, so last year when God called me, and it is 10 months ago that God said, I'm sending you as missionary to Asia.
Yeah.
I didn't know where in Asia. And
You had no
yeah,
idea.
no. But I knew it was big.
Yeah.
And so it was a surprise to me as well.
Okay.
And then last year, as
Yeah, I think your coffee is ready now.
I
There you
just
go.
need to get it out without burning myself.
Yeah.
And so last year, when I got the word from God that He's sending me, I thought to myself, man, this is exciting. And one by one, all different types of continents and countries and names from Asia came to me one by one.
Yes.
And then I just really got excited. I knew nothing about missionary work either, so I put that disclaimer in as well.
I mean, you've been saved not long. Is it a year now?
It's a year and 3 months.
Sure. Yeah, you're so new.
And so then I didn't know whom to ask about missionary work because I didn't know anyone. Then at a cell meeting at a church, I was sitting there with my best friend. I used to call her my spiritual mom because she really held my hand and walk with me since I got saved and baptized. And
Yes.
so she knew me very well, and so we were sitting next to each other, and all of a sudden I saw you. And my first question to her was, who's that? She said, I don't know. I said, okay, I'm going to ask him. And so it just happened that you sat next to me.
Yes.
And I was just like, what's your name? And you said, Lawrence. And I said, oh, well, welcome. And we just had a conversation, and then you asked me if you can borrow my pen.
Yes.
You say that that's the best pickup line ever.
That was my pickup line. Can I borrow your pen?
And-
That was really not with clean motives. I really wanted to get to know you.
I didn't know
I liked
that.
you.
I didn't know that.
It was love at first sight for me.
And for me, it was purely out of curiosity. I wanted to know who you are. And so I asked you what you do, and oh, sorry, we're sitting here at a coffee shop in
In
the
a coffee
cafeteria having the coffee.
It's a
and
Korean baby
having lunch
crying.
and
It's
everything.
normal.
So now,
This is the sounds
yes,
of Korea.
yes. So I just sat there and asked you what you do, and you said, no, you're a missionary in South Korea and everything. It's like, say again.
The lights came on.
I just heard missionary in Asia, and I was like, what? And
okay.
so the more I wanted to ask you questions, the more interruptions came, and I just didn't have any gap to
Yeah.
ask you any questions. So I just said to the Lord, well, it's obviously not a time, and I just left it, and I went about doing my thing, you went about doing your thing. And after a few hours, I was looking for my spiritual mom at that stage, and I heard a voice in a cafeteria, and I thought to myself, okay, there she is, and I went to make myself a cup of coffee. But then I heard another voice, and it was yours.
Oh.
And I just leaned back, and I looked around the corner. I was like, okay, let's just get this coffee done. And I just ran towards you guys. And she just moved up, and I sat in between the two of you. And I thought to myself, well, this is the moment, you know. And I kept diary of every single day since God called me. And I wrote everything down. And my spiritual mom read everything. She went through me, everything. And the more questions I asked you, the more you wanted to know about me. And I was like, no, you're telling me about Asia. You know, my story is short, but I need to know your story. So you just went on and you told me about your walk with God and your experiences in Asia and everything. And I was just so, wow, you know, I was amazed by it. And as we stood up to leave, I just felt God's index finger at the top of my head, pushing down on my head, saying, that's your husband. And I just sat down. I was like, what? Because I wasn't looking for one, you know. I wasn't looking for a partner or anything.
Really? Okay.
At that stage, it was me and God.
Yeah.
You know, I was sold out to God.
God was your newfound love.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I, for the first time, I knew the meaning of first love.
Yes.
And so, for me, God was my everything.
Yeah.
And at that stage, the last thing or that crossed my mind was sharing my life with another person.
Of course.
You know, because it was me and God.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And so I just said in my head, we'll talk about this later. I just walked, but I told no one about this. And I received your number, and I tried to communicate with you and just went dead.
It just didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, because you were busy with your things and
Yeah,
I was busy with my things, and it was just not happening. And so at the end of the day, I just looked at your profile picture and I told God, well, He has what I've been asking for quite some time, and that's the Holy Spirit glow.
That's
And so I said, well, I don't want to wait 30 years to receive it. So whatever I need to go through and whatever I need to do in order to receive it, let it be. It's all or nothing. And that's the thing, it's all or nothing. And then after a while, I came to the point where God and I had this conversation about you being my husband. And I went through every single phase a person can go through. I laughed, I cried, I rolled, I jumped, I crawled, I didn't know what to feel. But every time I opened my mouth, all I could say was, why?
why do I need a husband?
Why? And I just asked God, but don't you want me anymore? Why do I need a husband? You're my husband. It's you and me, you know. And I mean it with everything good inside of me, as the word says, that God is your bridegroom. And He's your everything. And He's literally my everything. And so after all, God is so gracious and He's a gentleman. And it was about 3 hours when I couldn't cry anymore and I couldn't laugh anymore, and I just sat there and I got everything out of my system. God just said, now here are my plans for you. And He said, that's why a husband, that's why he needs a wife. That is my promise to you guys, and this is who He is in spirit. Because the moment I met you, I saw you physical because I have eyes, but I saw in spirit who you are.
I'm glad about that.
And
God
so
really helped.
Then God showed me who you are in spirit, who I am in spirit, and what the plans are for us together, and
Sure.
that's why a husband. And the one thing He said is, in 2018, I will need a physical hug from Him, and you will need a physical hug from Him,
Yes.
which is through me and which is through you.
Yes.
And then I said, okay, all or nothing. And so then God said, well, I'm busy preparing him for you, and I'm busy preparing you for him. I didn't know what it entitled and everything that went with it. I just knew it's all or nothing.
Yes.
And God took us, and he walked this walk with you to prepare you for me, and my walk
and
to prepare me for
and
you.
I was so worried because I had no ring and I wanted to get engaged.
No, but wait. And so then came the time, and I arrived on bus and got to you, and I fell into your arms as God pushed me out of the bus.
He did.
And the next day we just knew. We just knew.
We knew.
That's it. And nobody knew what we knew. And it was the 3rd of January. You said, well, I don't have a ring. And I said, well, God said everything is already provided. And God said this is his will and his plan. It is there. You just need to ask God where. And you did. And God told us, well, that's where the ring is. And you were like, I don't have money. I just said, it's in God's hands. And then it just came about that God provided money, and the perfect ring was available. Your ring was available. And the wedding was a miracle from God.
That wedding was spectacular.
He just sent one angel on another to us and made it perfect. I mean, our wedding was exactly what God showed me what it will be. And all that God told me to tell the wedding planner was a certain flower and the cake and instruments and under a big tree. And that was that. And the rest, I just told him, listen here, God said, ask and he will show you. And he did. And it was exactly to every pull, it was exactly what it was and what God showed me it would be. And that is the power of God. The moment you commit fully to God and your spirit is clean towards God and he knows you and you know him and you love him as he loved you, anything is possible. And I mean, it is debt free. It is.
Yeah, it was cash.
It was by God. It was
another big miracle. Is it was under
God.
a tree, as you said.
It was under a tree.
And
it was a chocolate cake wedding
the weather
cake.
forecast said rain all.
Yeah, and it was actually.
And the rain stopped.
The rain stopped, and I just, as everybody made plan B, I became adamant and I said there will be no plan B. It is under the big tree and it's going to be perfect weather and it's going to be just as God promised.
Yes.
And it was.
It was.
It was under the big tree. It was with the brass instruments, with the chocolate wedding cake, with the perfect flowers, with every single thing in place and so much more.
Sure.
And that is the living God we serve.
Awesome.
And then a month later, we had a month honeymoon to get to know each other. And exactly on our 1 month anniversary, we were in South Korea.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's our
awesome.
living God.
Well, it was nice talking to you this week. This was our final episode for this week. Next week we will be back, same station, same place, same time. Please come back. Go to justlovingpeople.com. This is the website, and I've got a surprise. I'm working on the editing of our wedding videos, so you can see that, how the Lord gave us the best wedding ever.
Yes.
You can also download all the episodes of this week for any donation. From me, Lawrence, and my awesome wife, Michelle from South Korea.
God bless. Love each other. See you next time.
See you next time. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.